This week we're going to be reading Parshat Emor, which deals with some laws of kohanim, some laws of priests specifically, certain prohibitions, primarily with regards to defiling what's called oneself, meaning touching dead bodies or burying someone dead, unless it's a close relative. That's one of the prohibitions that has to do with the priests. And one other major prohibition that is specific to the priests is who they can marry. There are certain women that a priest, a Kohen, cannot marry. Now it's interesting. In Judaism, of course, priests are descendants of Aaron. It's not something that a person chooses. Rabbis could be anybody. And in fact, of course, the privilege of knowledge of Torah, which is given to everybody, is greater than the privilege of being a Kohen, a priest. This is very important, the egalitarian aspect of Judaism, and that is that anybody from any family can become greater than even the most exalted family in our midst, and that is the descendants of the brother of Moshe, Aaron. While they have certain privileges, the greatest privilege is to be a righteous person, to know the Torah, and that is given to everybody. You don't have to be of great lineage to be a great Talmid Chacham. That's why the Talmud tells us that if two people are kidnapped, and one is a Kohen, but he's not knowledgeable in Torah, and the other one is of the worst lineage, what's called Mamzer, but he is knowledgeable in Torah, he's redeemed first. But whatever the case may be, so the two main topics with regards to priests are who they can marry and that they cannot defile themselves. By the way, I saw an interesting explanation. There could be many different explanations why the Torah is specifically strict with the priests and the touching of dead bodies. But one explanation I saw, which is interesting, and that is that in many religions, people have a great concern about what happens after death. That's like the main thing about them, that they want when the person is dead, that the priest will do whatever is necessary in order for this person to get whatever paradise they're supposed to get. So it's a very important part of the ritual in those religions where the priests specifically kind of do something for the body of the deceased and do all kinds of procedures. This exists in, by the way, many versions of Christianity as well. I think it's most common in Greek Orthodox version of Christianity, as far as I understand, but I'm not an expert in this, of course. Whatever the case may be, maybe one of the reasons why the Torah specifically doesn't want the Jews to think that the main thing is how a person is buried, or that the priest will do something for him after he or she departs this world. So that's why the fact is it's the opposite. Our priests can't even approach the dead bodies. They have nothing to do with the dead body. Only the closest relative. And the high priest can't even bury the closest relatives. Whatever the case may be, the interesting idea I want to discuss with you is that the very first Mishnah, what Mishnah and Talmud starts with, and that is Masechet Brachot, and the time of reading the evening Shema, is related to this week's Parsha, interestingly enough. And that is that it says in our Parsha that the priests can only eat their food, which includes Truma, only after Uvah HaShemesh V'taher, when the sun goes down and he becomes clean, or the sky becomes clean of the light, meaning it becomes dark, only then can the priest be fully purified. Meaning, for instance, a priest became unclean. Some types of uncleanness make him unclean only for 1 day, not for 7 days or anything like that. But he still has to immerse himself in the mikvah, or in a natural body of water, and then wait till the stars come out, wait till it gets dark. Only then he can eat his Truma. And the very first Mishnah in Masechet Brachot starts with the fact that when are you allowed already to read the evening Shema? The Torah tells us to repeat Shema when we go to sleep and when we get up, right? Evening and morning. So when is the evening time of Shema? When the priests go to eat their Truma. Why would it connect the reading of Shema, the time of reading of Shema, with the time that the priests can already eat Truma? just because it's both is when the sun goes down and the stars come out, when the day is over, why would these two things be connected? So the Gra, well, there could be a simple explanation actually. It just gives you a simple sign if you're not really knowledgeable, if it's already the stars came out, it didn't come out. Priests were usually the most knowledgeable people and they know exactly when stars come out. So when you see they're already going to eat the Truma, you know time for Shema arrived. So a simple person can just see the priest coming to eat the Truma as a sign that it's time to read the evening Shema. But the Vilna Gaon, the Gra, gives us the following explanation. He says that a lot of times the oral law, the Mishnah and the Talmud, like to follow the pattern of the written Torah. So the only place where the written Torah talks about this time period, Uba Hashemesh v'taher, right, the time of basically when the sky is purified from the light, if you could call it that way. That's how the Talmud interprets this verse. So when the sky, the main light is over, when it's already dark, getting dark, and the stars come out, this is the context in which the Torah mentions it, in the context of priests eating the Truma. So therefore, even the time of Shema, well, the Torah doesn't tell us exactly when is the earliest time to say Shema. The Torah just says at the time when people go to sleep, but people could go to sleep at different times, but the sages understand this to mean the time when it's getting dark, and used the term that the Torah uses for the priests, because the Torah talks about this time with regards to the priests, so therefore the sages also used the same sign. When the priests are eating Truma, that's when you could read the evening Shema. And another explanation, the Vilna Gaon says, according to Kabbalistic explanation, that there is a certain tikkun that has to do with spiritual worlds and how Truma, the Truma is really 1/50th usually. It's a part of the crop that rectifies the entire crop. It's in a sense the most important part, right? The one that's given to the Kohen. So in the Shema, the first verse of Shema has 25 letters, and the next Baruch Shem Kvod has 24 letters. So together it's 49. So 49 out of 50, again, this whole idea of there's two Shmas, evening and morning, and in each case altogether it's 100. Truma, in fact, the word Truma hints to it, 2 out of 100. So we have this 49-50 issue, that there is 49 letters of the main part of Shema that we pronounce, and the 50th, the actual concentration, goes up to heaven and does the rectification it needs to do. So that's the connection of the priests eating Truma, kind of the separation of Truma, our concentration during the Shema of the 49 letters that we pronounce. It's of course much more complex than this. I'm just trying to simplify, and in general, the words of the Vilna Gaon are usually very hard to understand, especially when he talks about Kabbalistic issues, but I wanted to just mention this interesting idea that there is all kinds of ways in which you could connect the eating of Truma to the reciting of Kriyat Shema in the evening. And on this I'm going to end. If you like this video, please press like and please subscribe to our channel.